So I wanted to touch on something that I think we as humans really just have an affinity for, and it's for categorizing things and labeling things and compartmentalizing things. We seem to have a real thing about wanting to focus on doing that. And I think that from my experience and clients and as I've watched people, I think it's because it gives people a sense of security, safety, to be organized. But I'm sorry, I got to bust the bubble, because that's really kind of a false reality. It's a little bit of a delusion. It's an illusion, because where our real safety is, where our real protection is with the relationship that we have with ourselves and the divine. That's where we're truly safe. That's where we're truly protected. But we've been programmed to do all this sorting. Now, before the mail had the machines, somebody would actually sit and put it in those little boxes. Now, this was way, way before my time, of course. Just so you guys know, I just know this, okay? But they would. They just real busily sort, and they put all that stuff in there. And it's interesting because we sometimes do the same thing with our lives and the things that happen to us or for us. The first thing we want to do is start wanting to decide if it's good, bad, right, or wrong. Now, I kind of simplified that for the talk, but we understand that we have lots of descriptive words that we use, and I'm guilty because I love words and I love vocabulary. Things can't just be bad, they got to be horrific, horrible. And we have a real talent for describing the bad stuff, but not as good about describing the good stuff, right? Isn't that funny how we kind of fall into that? So, it's funny because something will happen to us, and then we want to turn to our little cubbies and start, okay, this is bad, this is good, they sucked, that hurt me, that was, whatever, and we start putting it in. And then we put it next to one that was like that and go, well, that happened before. You know what I'm saying? So we're stuffing all of this stuff. But what is this really doing? Is it solution-oriented? Is it towards solving anything? It's actually what keeps us busy, keeps us distracted. Now, I'm not saying it's good to process. We'll talk about that some more later. But to focus like this actually helps us create an attachment to it and an identification to it. Okay? And again, it programs us to think we're safe. All right? Now, remember, where your attention goes, your energy flows. So let's get real about the fact that we all want to live 80, 90, 100 years, right? But we don't really know when our ticket's going to get called. We cannot add days to our life, but we can add life to our days. All right? So where do you want your attention, energy, and your efforts to go? In this busy distraction? Or over here in the life that you really want and how you want it. Okay? So, how many times is this good, bad, right, and wrong thing really accurate anyway? Have you ever done something that you thought, oh my God, this is the greatest thing that ever happened? And 3 months later you're like, whoa, this is what I thought it was going to be. This job was supposed to be my dream job. Or even bad things. Haven't you ever had bad things happen? Like, Elijah was born preemie, 27 weeks, 4 days, 2 pounds, 7 ounces. Would never believe it today, would you? I'm like, so anyway, that is, don't get me wrong, it was hidden with riddled, with lots of fear and risks. I'm not going to deny that. But having that experience in the NICU with him changed my mothering. It heightened my intuition. It allowed me to stand up for him. And I didn't have a medical degree, and they did not like that. But it helped. And then there was other things like, I got these mints from Costco, a big tub of mints from Costco, and I put them in my room because it got lonely. I'm in a room all day long with beeping and humming, and I see a nurse every 45 minutes or so, but he was a low-risk case, and so the nurses would come and get mints, and they'd visit with me a little bit, chat with me a little bit. And then there was this lady that, because this is a locked facility, okay, and you had to go through a locked door. There was this one secretary that took her job very seriously, and she was always so intense and like never smiled and whatever. So one day when I was running to a Mama's Milk meeting, I left 2 mints on a napkin that said, "Compliments of Master Elijah," and I left them his room number. So I come back, because normally she's always at her desk. I couldn't believe I missed her. So I came back, and she stands up, and she goes, "Thank you so much, Miss Hutson. That was so nice. That just made my day." And I said, "Would you call me Lena?" And she goes, "I'm Ava." She was seen. And that changed our interaction from that point on. She was a different person. So here I am, dealing with what was just a crazy experience, but all this good stuff came out of it. So how accurate is this whole good, bad, right, and wrong? Not to mention what you think is wrong, I might not. Or you think is good, I might not. What's good for me is not good for you. So the big thing of it is as we sort this, we are creating part of our identity with it. We are creating an attachment with it. And the Buddhists talk about how suffering is because of our attachment to things. Okay? So when we're doing that, like I said, we attach it to other things. When we put new stuff in, we're actually reliving old stuff. We're stirring up fear, and we're overindulging in these negativities. We hang stuff on it. It gets on us. It gets heavy, and it sort of traps us. So just like it feels good to declutter your house, right? When you go through all your cabinets and your closets and you give it away, I love it. I always have a throwaway, give away, and keep, pile as I do this, and it feels so good. And it frees up your space, right? Frees up your energy, and it feels so good for a long period of time. It feels good to give, it feels good to get rid of it, it feels good to have that environment. It's important for us to try to do that with our stuff that we're carrying around emotionally and mentally as well. What is it really serving? Throw it away. Try not to give too much away unless it's something positive. But you know what I'm saying as far as decluttering yourself. And this kind of starts with surrendering to the fact that we're human. This is actually something we wanted, we were excited about, and we were encouraged to do, because there's things that we get to experience in this plane that you can't in any others. The arms of your child around your neck, the kiss of a loved one on your forehead or cheek, cheesecake, pizza, those are mine, whatever, right? Okay, I'm not so sure that angels have pizza parties. I don't think they can taste it like we can. So this is an experience that's supposed to be, really a good thing. Now, this kind of gets a little bit scary for people because we want to hang on to things, but the reality is everything in this life, including this body, is impermanent. Everything is. Have you ever wadded yourself up about something and thought it was the worst thing that happened, and tomorrow it's not even a thought? I love it when I whip myself, something's coming up, and I whip up 99 scenarios of how it's going to come down. None of them even come close. How much time did I waste doing that? So, how do we want to do this? Accept that everything is impermanent, and when we actually accept that, it liberates us. It gives us freedom. We live lighter, and we move through things in a different way. When we're telling stories, we want to be careful. It's great to share. It's great because other people can learn from it. But we want to make sure that we're not rooting ourselves into it in a way that keeps us attached to it, okay? And we want to kind of get to the point where we're not so emotionally and mentally affected energetically when we tell stories. Does that make sense? And it doesn't impact us. Because guess what? It's just an experience. It's just an experience. Everything is just an experience. And when we can do that, and a lot of that ability to let go comes from that relationship that you have with yourself and the divine. That's a game changer. When you have cultivated that relationship and you feel good about yourself and about your divine, it changes everything about how you are impacted and how you approach issues and problems in your life. And by the way, Alan Watts says that life is not meant to be a problem to be solved. It is meant to be lived. Okay? And I think it's about shifting our minds that way. Because, help me with this, I'll make sure I say it right. Wayne Dyer says, change what you look at and what you look at will change. Did I say that right? Okay. We can either decide to stay clustered over here with the way that we want to categorize and label things, or do we want to try to just shift our attention so what we look at changes? All right? And it's about the balance of it. Trying to get into that place where we're balanced. So how do we balance this with more proactive, positive things? We're going to go through some tips and ideas of things we can do with that. First of all, remind yourself that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. Let's get even more fun with this. You're a soul in a human disguise. This is the face and hair I have this life. That's it. I loved it. A couple weeks ago when Gene Walter said, you don't walk in the room and say, yes, I'm a Hyundai, because I drove a Hyundai. And then I get a Toyota, and then I'm a Toyota, right? As much as we love our vehicles, but we love our bodies, but we're not our bodies. So consider yourself the spiritual being, the soul, because that's the eternal part of you that lives on forever, okay? The other thing is remind yourself of what a remarkable human being you truly are. Sidebar here, everybody pretty familiar with Joe Dispenza? He's been doing a lot of stuff, because he had a really horrific accident that broke his back. I think he got like a bus or something and his back broke 3 times. And he healed himself. So he has designed this whole program of how he is training people and teaching people, and I'm really thumbnailing this, okay? Thumbnailing this into he's teaching people how to heal themselves, and they're being healed by this. And guess what? Scientists are kind of getting interested in this. They think, oh, okay, so they're going to start doing experiments. There is a documentary coming out this weekend. If we haven't already posted it, we'll try to put it on Facebook and Instagram if you want to try to watch it. But think about that. He and others and us, we have the ability to heal ourselves emotionally, mentally, and physically. If we can raise our vibrations up to those levels, we can heal ourselves. We're remarkable. I said this to a lady the other day, and I'm going to coin this, I'm telling you, because she was really feeling yuck about herself and like she wasn't special. And I said, I want you to do me a favor. And she's like, sure. I said, tonight, I want you to walk outside and look up at the sky and see all those beautiful stars. And I want you to decide which one's not special. That's us.
Yeah.
Totally us. So remember who you are and how awesome you are. So take the sorting, because we do still have to process things. Put things where they belong, but then move to where you want to go and redirect some of it into the life that you want. So we're not given, even though sometimes, if I ever wrote a biography, they're going to wonder, seriously, was this all happen to one person? But it's not really a good or bad life. If somebody read it, they might think that I had a bad life in certain ways. But really, that's not the case. We're not given a good or bad life. We're just given a life. It's up to us to what we make it. And that's actually, and I want that to be an empowering thing. Okay? I want you to be empowered by the fact that I get to make this what I want. Now, we're not going to put our head in the sand. Things happen. People are disrespectful. People are cruel. Places aren't feeling good. Things like that. People, places, and things. So, but this is what it's about. It's counteracting it. How many times when something happens do you go into, why me? Why did this happen? What did I do? How stupid. Did I, and we start going into that kind of mode. This is over here kind of behavior. But what if we stopped and did something really nice for ourselves to counteract what they did? Because then what we're doing is we're going to turn around and reinforce our worth, our value, what we deserve. So when something does happen in your life, because that's inevitable, you counteract it with good self-care. How often do we do that? How often do we come out of the slump and then be just really good to ourselves because I have value? They didn't honor and respect, but I'm going to. You all know I said horrific. I love horrific. I don't know why. But there's horrific experiences that happen. There really are. And it can make you feel very broken sometimes. But are you really broken? Or is it shifting what you see so what you see changes into something that, no, this is a chance for me to rebuild myself with new purpose and new meaning in the way that I want to. Doesn't have to be good, bad, or wrong. Just an experience. And any of the cracks that are left, that's where the light comes in and out. Not only for us, but other people. It's amazing when something, isn't it great when you get to share a story and somebody's like, oh, that's wonderful. So yesterday, during my talk, there was a young man that had a bit of a reaction, and so I talked to him afterwards because I had mentioned foster care. He had been in foster care. So I was able to connect with him, give him some things he needed. Oh my God, that felt so good. So what I had gone through turned into something good that I could give away. That light shined out to somebody else. So we can turn brokenness into wholeness. And it's like, when you get a puzzle, are you hating that puzzle for being in pieces and not together? Of course not. You enjoy putting the puzzle together to be able to see the big picture. You know, you might glue it and put it on the wall, but you also take it apart and maybe put it back together again. You know, but you're not hating the puzzle because it's in pieces right now. Give yourself the same grace, even if it is a little messy sometimes. You're not broken. You have opportunity for breakthrough. So, for us to be able to do this, we sometimes have to change the pictures that we see or the story that we're telling ourselves, because it's not going the way we want it. It's like being a single mom. Whoever gets married to think they're going to get divorced. Whoever has a kid thinking they're going to be a single parent. But you know what? My son and I have some of the greatest times, and I'm so grateful for him and I and the little team we make. It's beautiful, and I love it. I really do. You know, it's opportunities, you know. So the other thing is, this is another tough one, and I know people in this room are like this, including myself. So when you go through something that is tough, that is fight, flight, survival type stuff, it's important to keep that optimism through it, knowing, not that everything's perfect or it's sweet during the time, but it will end and things will get better. Optimistic is good. But even more importantly, after it starts to taper and the problem starts to get better, what do? Jump right in and keep trudging on? No. You need to rest. You need to relax. You need to give yourself a break. You need to give yourself lots and lots of doses of self-care, big and small, because you just went through a fight or flight experience for however long it lasted. And it's going to affect you emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. So really love and honor yourself. We're not machines. We need to rest, take time, space, laughter, and enjoy our tribe and the people that love us and will love us through that. All right? Finally, gratitude. This is a tough one sometimes when you're in the middle of things, but they actually found in your brain, you cannot be anxious, stressed, or worried, or whatever, and feel gratitude at the same time. So if you can shift yourself from over here and go into a place of gratitude, I don't care how big, how small, gratitude. I mean, even if it's just as simple as, you know, you remember something before you leave the house, thank you. You know, a letter comes that you enjoy, or I don't know, a song comes on the radio that you enjoy. Be grateful. Be grateful for everything that you can find to be grateful for. All right, because at the core, when you love yourself and you honor yourself, you glow from inside. And you are going to attract other people that are going to appreciate and honor and respect you for who you are. Now, more, but But you're still going to bounce into some of that other stuff. But it will get easier, because the more you do this, the easier it gets to keep starting off at a better point. Okay? So, you are worthy, you are valuable, you are deserving. Treat yourself that way. Because ultimately, it is you that makes it a wonderful life.